It may sound so complicated, but it's just as simple as Hi guys, I'm Selena. I graduated in 2013. So I was an active member of UP JMA and I was part of internals, the best. Anyway, so I was super active. I remember I joined internals my second sem when I joined UP. I did ad hoc team too, and then I became internals chair like on my third year. Fourth year, I kind of just was an active member and, like enjoyed the last year of college. And then I was working in the corporate world. I was with Coca-Cola for a few years. And then I took a step back. I interned through ISAC in Romania for a few months and then got back and I worked in a consulting, like a startup consultancy firm with actually one of the professors in UP. After that, had a short stint with Chris Aquino and then went to Canada. Like my career path was like all over the place. What I really realized is like, it may sound so complicated, but it's just as simple as making the brand human. Like if that brand were someone, like who would that be? Would that person be, like someone who's very informative, like funny, friendly? It's like the connection between the product and the consumers. So how do you communicate? How do you sell your product? And how do you reach your consumers? And the most important thing that I learned, I think, would be like, what types of emotion would you want your product or your brand to elicit from those people? Like working, for example, in Romania, because they had this Filipino brand, it's called Tawag Pinas. And they did this whole internship thing because most of their ads were very transactional because they don't know Filipinos, right? So like that internship was basically switching that whole, their brand Tawag Pinas into just from transactional to being more like emotional and just marketing it in such a way, especially Filipinos, diba? Like we're so emotional. Like we love ads na napapaiyak ka and, like really may affect sa'yo. So yeah, so that I think as long as you elicit some sort of emotion from your consumers, and once you've like made them stop and listen to you, it means you've been successful with your branding. I think it all started like from college, that you feel your freedom, and then I joined the corporate world. Not suddenly it's like 9 to 5 and you're like staring at this computer the whole day in an office. And I think it just kind of got to me na parang, like, is this what I want to do? I mean, I did leave right away, right? But like I started going on beach trips. So every weekend, I'd have something to look forward to, kind of like an escape from it, or like just a shift of mindset and be in a different environment. So like every weekend I had my JMA friends actually, like sila Shala, and we would plan trips to Zambales or La Union. And then, like it's like such a surf community. So I was like, okay, like maybe I should try surfing. And I remember the first time I took lessons. So wala akong rash guard. You know how yung standard rash guards are like, right? Like they're like long sleeves, tas parang sobrang haba. And I'm like I don't look cute in this. I want to tie it up or something. So like the next time I went on a beach trip, nagpagawa ako ng rash guard. So like I designed it, and then nagpatahi ako ng rash guard, and then I would wear it when I go surfing. And so like people would ask, oh, where'd you get that? And like, oh, it's like, oh, I just designed it and made it pagawat. And then they were like, okay, are you planning on selling it? And like it never really hit me. Like I wasn't really planning on starting a swimmer business or anything like that. But like a few times, and then a few times that I'd go on beach trips, and then people would be keep on asking, and then it just hit me. Why don't I just like try it out if there's a demand for it? Like if there's a gap na parang walang cute rash guard out there. Yeah. And then so I started thinking about it, and it was actually in Romania. when I was thinking about the whole branding of it. And I was like, if I were to push through with this and create this brand, what would it be like? And remember when I said that you try to humanize the brand, and like, so I was like thinking, if Amihan were a person, what would it be like? And it's mostly like things about me. Like, I love to travel, very passionate about, meeting people, trying out different experiences, or like the beach and just being in nature and things like that. So like I created like 3 designs, and 2 of those are like stylish functional swimwear. Of course, like how I marketed it was I told my friends to buy like support me, and then just it was a very slow growth in the beginning. Like, the whole anticipation of like working 1 whole year trying to build this brand, designing and production, and then that moment you click launch, that's when I'm booming. Like, crew, like it was like that for like a week, and I was like, oh shit, what's happening? Like, it's like, think that it would just be like a snap, because like you've worked so hard on it. So from there, like I really tried to like put the name out there. Like, I partnered with brands that are like small businesses too, and like local talents to get the name out there. So I do shoots with some friends, and mostly your network. And to be fair, most of those network from JMA. I don't know if you know Where to Next, like Sila Ayan and si Rach Halili, an online community, a travel community, and they create planners now. So like I partner with them to like create nature events or like passion project events, like sponsored by Amihan, just get the name out there and make sure to choose the right platforms and the right events and the right partners. So it was a slow growth, but it's mostly like, building a community and tapping the right people. Because, budget wise, like I didn't have a lot, like I didn't put a lot of capital into it. It was mostly like work talaga na. My JMA friends, like I tapped Gabby, Dario, if both to like model my swimwear and things like that. And then from then, like when I started to realize like what the brand is really about, and it's just more about like online posting and like, because the whole idea of Amihan swimwear is like I name each bikini or swimwear after a person who's like following her passion, like whether it's like surfing or art or modeling, even like things like that. It's like I give them the platform to share their stories and hopefully inspire other women. Yeah, so it's more like community building. And through Amihan, like I met a lot of, like it attracted the same people with the same mindset, like, those who love nature and those who love starting small businesses, passion project, like a good community where people learn from people and people benefit from each other. When you hear personal brand, like there's some sort of like it seems so complicated, or there seems to be like a bit of pressure on how to define it, just what it means, just how to go about it. I guess to simplify it, it's like how you use your stories or your experiences, your JMA experiences, even like how you relate with other people to set you apart from other people, and like how to differentiate you and make you shine online and offline, to attract the companies that you want to work in, or to attract the people that you want to be friends with and build businesses with, identifying your strengths and using those to create a name and sell yourself to other people. Well, I don't know about you guys. I feel like you guys are more aware of these things now than we were when we were younger. Like before, personal branding wasn't really like a thing. It was mostly like, brands, like products that had brands. Kami were just like, you're just you, and you're the finance one. Na pag whenever you go on Barkada lunches, o ikaw de ka compute, or like ikaw yung funny, ikaw yung makwento, and things like that. And I guess like it all just boils down to that, like what people perceive you as. I think like since I, like on social media, for example, I post about things that I like for example, traveling and food. And I think that, like creating that personal branding, and when people see it, Like sometimes you don't even have to sell yourself to other people. They just like reach out to you and be like, hey, I saw what you did with, for example, with this brand, and maybe we can work together. Like I feel like those little things that you do, from like, for example, my experience from Amihan or JMAer or whatever, like it's always like one step the next career opportunity. When I was first applying for jobs or even internships, like I Googled myself. Like I literally typed Selena Sol Cruz and see what popped up. And then like I was like, oh shit, like that's still public. So I had to like make sure all my accounts are private, or like sometimes even those pictures that you were tagged in na naka-public. And like those things you can control. You can like ask your friend to put it down and make it private, just so not anyone would see. I think like most recruiters now, like when you apply for jobs, they check your account, like no doubt. Like when you meet, like I think it's human nature now. Like it's our generation now. Now once you meet someone new, or like you apply for jobs, even you would look up that person who's gonna interview you, or like people who work there. So they definitely check your social media, if social media accounts, to see like if there's some negativity there, or like your personal branding would contribute to the company, or would it be detrimental to them. So when you post, like if your goal is to get into finance role in the future, or like a marketing role, not the man like post like marketing quotes and things like that, but like you want them to see a holistic picture of you, na you want to be relevant in your field too. Like, so for example, for me, like I'm in marketing, and whenever I see like cool campaigns that I see, like I share it on my stories, or like funny brand names or things like that, like you share those. But at the same time, I share the things that I love to do. Like I love to cook, I love to bake, or like DIY things and travel. So then like as a full human being, like they can see, they kind of know you. Of course, you don't want to share like a lot of negativity on your feed as well. I know it's like, curated. Like some people say it's not the real you because you're only showing the positive things, but in reality, I mean, it is you, right? Like, or that's the person that you want to be. So, I mean, that's your goal, right? Like to build that picture of, and showcase your strengths, and at the same time, like, make people see and perceive you that way. I guess it's hard, especially if like right now my boss follows me on Instagram, and in the beginning I was like, shit, is this weird? Like, she's gonna see the stuff that I do. But like now, especially that we're working from home, I feel like that kind of helps her get to know me as well, especially like identify common interests. Like now she knows that I love plants, and sometimes we talk about that at work. I think now, like, we always overthink, like when we post, it's like, what would people think about me? And sometimes I do that too. It's like, oh, do I post too much about food? Like, do they think wala akong ginagawa kundi kumain at magluto? like, things like that. But at the end of the day, like, they post too. I mean, like people are on social media to learn from different people, or like get inspired. So if there's something that you like to do, if you like writing or like sketching and things like that, just share. And like, I don't think there's any harm in like putting all those things out there. And I guess that's one thing that I also learned from like building Amihan. Like once you have something, once you have an idea, just do it. Like don't overthink. I mean not like if it's like a wild thing, or like drinking. I mean, think twice before taking shots, and like like think twice before posting those. I mean, especially if like you're applying for a job at that point, or like some important people are following you, and then just make sure to create a close friends list, and like not because that's about like building your brand too. You don't want to be seen as like, oh, like major reckless in posting those things. But like if you want to let it out, then just make sure that it's controlled and it's only for a certain group. When I was working with KCAP, Chris Aquino's production team, it was it was completely different. Like, I wasn't really exposed to like celebrities and things like that. I remember the first time I went to her house to meet her. Like, I was like literally like shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, like to be in the same room as her. It was like sobrang nakakakaba.
Was Chris nice? Like I
Oh,
was
she's super nice.
really, because she's really nice. It's just I feel like it's so intimidating. It's like the queen of all media, so it's like the way she talks pa kasi, di ba, parang she might be super intimidating or super like maarte or something. So I was like,
Yeah.
curious.
I felt that because like I wasn't really like I wasn't really like super girly girl too, and I know that she loves all her makeup, her lipstick, and like she's super like fashionista and things like that. So like when I first met her, it was super random pa, because like I just came from just like a random coffee date with a friend, and then like my boss was like, oh, you want to come and meet her? I was like, okay. So I wasn't like dressed for it and things like that, but she was super nice. And I remember when I would like brief her on certain webisodes and projects, like I'd have to like make sure I know what I'm saying and like sell it to her, because like I want to make sure that she'd like love what she would say, and like she'd feel comfortable doing the things that the certain brand that we partnered with is asking her to do. It's such an interesting experience. I remember like when we did the webisode for MAC Cosmetics, and she was like, oh, Selena, come over here and like join the webisode. And it was like about putting lipstick and things like that. And I don't really put lipstick because I eat a lot. So like, wala lang siya. And she was like, okay, so and in front of the camera, she was like, oh, go put it on with me and see if like bagay sa'yo. And like she had to teach me how to put on makeup, and she was like, UP ka pa naman, hindi ka marunong mag-makeup. But I think like the super important thing that I learned from her and my experience with her is her personal branding is so on point. Like super on point. Like she's a mom, and I learned from her is like she only endorses products or brands na she believes in. I remember when we would like pitch to different companies and different brands, like it has to be approved by her, because like if it's not something that she believes in or it's not something that she uses, it won't work. So I guess similar with like how I develop, what I like to do and things like that. I remember when I was working for a consultancy firm and I was thrown into a project that involves this company. So it's like planning for your death and things like that. And so they were like, oh, Selena, so this could be your first project. So they brought me to the meeting and they're like, how do you market this to people? And I'm super not comfortable with death. I mean, who is, right? So like when they were talking about the marketing plan for that company, I couldn't contribute because it wasn't something that I was comfortable with or something that I enjoy. I told my boss, I was like, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't think this is a project that I can. What I learned from my experience with KCAP is like work on things that you like to do, because that decision is all on you. You don't apply for companies that you don't believe in, or like you don't manage a brand na you don't use. Do something that you like and do something that you believe in, and so everything else would follow. In 2014, 2013, like hindi pa masyado, it's not a like Viber, WhatsApp, parang wala, hindi pa masyado active nun. So it's actually a way to contact, like for OFWs to contact their family at home by buying credits. And imagine that, like OFWs and contacting your family at home. It's such an emotional, right? Yeah. Like what they're selling is like, bringing families together. Tapos they had like very little knowledge of what the Filipino behavior as consumers is like. So like, it's nice to like bring that into the company and like make them understand na medyo madrama tayo, and like when it comes to family, it's like super important. I wasn't really sure. So like entering UP, I was like, was choosing between BA or psych. And then it was a bit overwhelming because of like the different cultures and like different things that you can do. But it's really because when I joined JMA that I felt like really at home, or like, I met the people that I want to be friends with, and I am still friends with. And I did try to join different orgs, but it was really in JMA and I felt more comfortable. And like whatever we were doing, it didn't really feel like work. That's when I started realizing that, like maybe marketing is really for me, because like it was something that I look forward to. We had a joke before, and it was like our course was like BSBA major in JMA. Like we were so active. Like that was like you know our priority at a certain point, just because we were enjoying work so much. I guess that's when I realized it's really what I want to do. Like, like when you have a successful event, it's kind of like an affirmation that like you're good at what you're doing. Like, for example, this masterclass, this is life-changing for people to have this resource to watch and like get inspired by people who've gone through the same things. When I was in JMA, I felt that like the things I was doing, I felt like I really made an impact, no matter how small it was. And, that's what kept me going and realizing that I like what I'm doing here, organizing events, connecting with different types of people, and working with brands too, if you have the opportunity to like create events for the members. So one of the main things that helped me shape who I am and like realize what I like to do and continue that like after graduating. Advice would be like, I remember when I was looking for internships. My internships were during weird times. Like it wasn't the summer months, I think. I think it was like the October break. What happened was I was practicing how to interview, and like it took me a long time to actually submit my application. And by that time, like tapos na, they all got like all the slots got filled. So I guess my advice would be like, to apply in advance as early as possible, get your name out there. Because in reality, it could just be, the number of slots filled, and it's not because of you're not good enough or things like that. I'm not sure if you guys still have like marketing competitions sponsored by different brands, like Brandstorm and different companies sponsoring those marketing competitions, and then you pitch to them. So if you still have those, like that's a good way to get your name out there, especially if you do a great job. Then you can put that on your resume, and automatically you have a link to the company. And for sure, they'd want someone who knows more about the brand, about the company, built that presentation already, and just active when it comes to school activities. If like at this point, now what type of internships you want to try to get, then within JMA, for example, you can start creating those experiences that you want to put on your resume, like relevant experiences that would lead you to get that internship next year. If you're still in the process of building your personal brand, like maybe ask yourself, number one, what's something that you're good at? Like what comes easy to you? Like, are you good at storytelling? Are you good at, writing? Or are you artsy or creative? Is it something that just like flows naturally? Yeah, just something that comes easy to you. Asking that, then you know your strength and you know what to leverage on. Second naman, I think it's good that you ask, like this group, like you ask your friends here, like, what do you think of me? Like, describe me in 3 words, for example. And those are the things that, you'd realize that, you see me pala as that way. So either, if you don't like that, then you can change it. If you do like that, then I guess you're successful, that, that's how people perceive you now, as early as now. Then you'd know how you come across right now to other people. Like, what's your branding to other people now? Like, and then, so know your strengths, and then know what people think of you. And I guess the last one would be, what's your purpose? Like, what makes you happy? Like, what's your mission? Like, when you go to work, what do you want to accomplish? Like, when you build a business, what do you want to tell people? Do you want to support local businesses? Are you interested in like helping local businesses build their brands? Or like, are you passionate about educating people, helping people see their potential and like their strengths? And I think with that, you can have a better idea of who you are and your personal brand, and see how people see you the same way. Make sure that your next steps would be acting or building on those strengths.